It's the DNVR Avalanche playoff preview series, the one you really want to hear from us about, Dallas versus Colorado. This is, of course, presented by Bet365. Look, it's been pretty confident that this was going to be the matchup for about a month, but you finally get confirmation, you finally crack on and dig into it here. The Avs are set up to be the healthiest they've been all season to start the playoffs. Dallas is likely heading into the playoffs with some injury trouble. Of course, Dallas has the 2-0 record in this era over the Avs in the playoffs. Pete DeBoer 3-0 against Jared Bednar. All the numbers in that kind of way seem to stack up against the Avs. But is this the year the Avs get through Dallas, gentlemen?
Go ahead, AJ.
Maybe? You have to feel like if it doesn't happen this year, it never will with these groups,
I agree
with
with
these
that,
cores.
yeah.
This is by far the best the Avs have been set up for it. Honestly, they were set up to beat them in the bubble, and then, as we know, a million
Michael Hutchinson was in
sideways.
that.
Yeah, and they still should have won that game with Michael Hutchinson in net.
Yeah.
It took a Yoel Kiviranta hat trick to eliminate them. So
meow the cat.
I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna keep making caveman noises, I guess. This is as best as they've been set up for it, just with the health considerations and the strength on strength of each roster. I think you are looking at it and saying this is as good a situation as you could ask for the Avalanche.
Yeah, I would agree. It really should line up to an Avs win, but they have to go out and do it. So Nothing is guaranteed, put it to you that way. On Dallas's side, at time of recording, it's sounding more and more likely that Heiskanen may end up missing the entire first round for Dallas. We'll see what happens if they get down in the series and they need a guy, or maybe he's on a faster track than people might expect. But maybe the most key piece to this series is the health of Miro Heiskanen, no?
Yeah, he's their catalyst, right? We all know that. On their back end, or maybe the whole team, right? I mean, he's their engine, so to speak, in my book. They have some good players. They don't have a MacKinnon, but I do believe they're more MVP type player as Heiskanen for me. Now, with that said, do you see him? Not see him? I don't know. It doesn't sound like you'll see him, but you never know. It's playoffs, right? And all of a sudden, miracles happen. Next thing you know, you see someone. It is what it is. I like the Dallas Stars. I respect the Dallas Stars. I like Jay Conger. Not because he's a BU Terrier, but because I like him. With that said, Mikko Rantanen is one of my favorite Av of all time. He's a playoff performer. So Dallas did get better in my book. If you compare from the trade deadline on, you know what I mean? And that was a big boost to their team, right? I would say C-Mac did an unbelievable job at the deadline to give a boost to his locker room, and we saw the jolt it did. But the same thing for Jim Nill and the Dallas Stars. Acquiring Mikko and then signing him was a big piece and a big booster for their locker room. So I'll wait till we give our predictions, but I like the Avalanche. I like the way they're constructed. I think they're built for winning. I think Jake has had more experience in the playoffs than Mackenzie Blackwood. So maybe if you're talking about edges, I don't know. One's never really played in the playoffs, and the other one's been pretty good, right? So, I mean, all in all, I think it's a fair match to say that it's like the clash of the Titans, so to speak, right? Because one of them's going home. So, unfortunately, a great team is going home, and that's the nature of the beast in the National Hockey League and the way the divisions are set up. And one of those guys will not be happy. One of those fan base and one of those managements and one of those, team's players will not be very excited after this first round.
I got to tell you, it makes me sick that their top two scorers are Mikko Rantanen and Matt Duchene.
Tough to look at. Tough to look at
sick,
for sure.
Man. Use 2 top 10 picks to build the beast that you now have to try to slay. Ugh! I hate it.
It's tough. Is it fair to say you guys think the winner of this series is the favorite in the West?
How healthy are they after the series?
That is fair. They have to play the game, of course.
That is my biggest concern, is that whoever wins this series comes out of it absolutely battered. And Winnipeg is just like, cool, we'll take this, thank you. Although, the Jets have to obviously win their series too. It's not going to be a walkover for them.
Could be a wicked hot St. Louis team they run into. We don't know for sure at time of recording. So
yeah, they have a lot of their own demons they have to try and get through.
Injuries are for everybody, right? Anybody can slip on something on the sidewalk, right? So it's like, but you're right. I mean, you would think that this is going to be good hockey and intense hockey, and that's when injuries happen. And we're knock on wood, hoping that both teams. I don't like to see, I don't like to see guys get hurt. You know what I mean? I want to see best on best. I've always been that way, and as a player or as a fan or as manager, I want to see best on best. So hopefully everybody can stay relatively healthy. But it's almost not possible through a long playoff run.
I mean, let's flip the script and talk about the healthy side of both of these two teams. Sure looks like Gabe Landeskog is on track to play in this round 1 series for the Avalanche. It sounds like Tyler Seguin will also be on track to play in round 1 for Dallas. So both teams getting a guy back. When you look at what their lineups are shaking out to be, am I a homer, or do the Colorado Avalanche have the edge here?
Well, I think when you get to the top of the lineup, you have Nathan MacKinnon, and look, we would all agree Mikko Rantanen is awesome. He's not Nathan MacKinnon. And life without Nathan MacKinnon has proven Mikko Rantanen to be a very good player. But even in Dallas, obviously what happened in Carolina was kind of a disaster for the guy.
Yeah.
He was not very good there, and they were not very good with him. But he, as of right now, he has 17 points in 18 games. Mm-hmm. He's really good. He's really good. But that's not the guy that he was for the last several years in Colorado. And the obvious answer as to why that would be is there's no Nathan MacKinnon there. And Rupe Hintz is really good. Matt Duchene is having another really good year for them. Wyatt Johnston's a really good player. None of those guys are as good as Nathan MacKinnon. And it's obvious that he helped elevate Rantanen's game on some level, and now he's helping elevate everybody else. I've spent this morning going through line data. You look at what those guys' numbers look like with Nathan MacKinnon versus with Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson's really good. Brock Nelson is really good. The numbers are good with Brock Nelson, but with Nathan MacKinnon, some of these guys are on another planet. And that's the thing that you start out with. And when you have Cale Makar, and they don't have Miro Heiskanen, Thomas Harley is really good too, and he's had a big-time breakout for them. It is not the same. The ability to go from, okay, Thomas Harley is great. We think that he can handle matching up against Nathan MacKinnon all series long. Okay, great. What else do you have? What happens after that? Because with Miro Heiskanen, they go from, all right, Miro will take MacKinnon. And Harley then gets everybody else, right? He gets to they get to pick and choose which matchup they want for him to go out and go beast mode on. Their depth on defense is a huge concern. And I mean a huge concern. If you look at their overall numbers as a team, they have a couple of games left to play, but without Heiskanen, their expected goals is in the 40s and like the mid 40s, not like 49.6%, like the mid 40s. Their shots, their scoring chances, their high danger chances, everything is way down without Miro Heiskanen. He is the key to the entire series because with Miro, they're an elite team. They're a top 5 team. This is a true clash of the Titans. Without Miro Heiskanen, the Avalanche, on paper, have a better defense. And I think that their forward core, I would just call it a push.
Sure.
because both forward cores are excellent. And if we're calling it a push, I would call it a push. But if we're going to say it's even, Nathan MacKinnon plays for one team, not both. And the team with him has the advantage.
I think that's a fair statement. I can't argue against that. The one thing you didn't touch on there, AJ, and E, you can jump in on this one, the goaltending. Mackenzie Blackwood obviously unproven in the playoffs, so what can you reasonably expect there? And Ottinger, we've seen kind of two versions of Jake Ottinger in the playoffs. We've seen unbelievably good Jake Ottinger in short stints, and we've seen an also not so good Jake Ottinger in one of the Dallas's two long playoff runs in the last couple of years. So advantage Dallas by default, E, or what do you think about the goaltending?
Yeah, I'm gonna give advantage Dallas, and not to be biased. And Jake is he's a good goalie. I'm not saying he's invincible. You're right, because he's had some good moments in the playoffs, and then he's had some not so good moments in the playoffs. Now, as far as Mackenzie, hard to jump to conclusion of him in the playoffs. He's never played in the playoffs, so I mean, and that's why it's still an unknown. Yes, he has turned the Avalanche season around since Chris and the crew there, C-Mac and the crew went and got him with Wedgwood, retooling the goalie tandem on the fly. And yes, after that, there was some different players added, but it all started with Mackenzie Blackwood, and his numbers were absolutely phenomenal when he got to Denver. The numbers went back to reality a little bit, afterwards. He's had some inconsistency here these past few weeks. Let's not be afraid to call a spade a spade. He has been inconsistent, and we all know that. We all see it, and I think that it's a new season come this weekend. I don't care that you were great when you got to Colorado for 20 games. I don't care that you played for the San Jose Sharks and they were terrible at the start of the season. What we care about now is how you react to high pressure situation playoff hockey that is this weekend. Right? Or I'm assuming this weekend. I'm talking out of turn, but I'm assuming at some point this weekend we'll see game one. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's important for him to challenge himself, but you have to give the advantage to Dallas because of what I said. It's unproven. He's never done it. We don't know how he's going to do it. Right? Do I think he's going to do well? Absolutely, I do. But right now, there's a bagel next to his stat, right, which is 0. Yep. He hasn't played playoff hockey in the NHL.
Just a fact.
Yeah, and you just look at what Ottinger did against the Avalanche last year, and it was pretty good. He had 3 games in that 6-game series. 3 of those games, he didn't allow more than 1 goal.
Pretty good.
There you go.
I mean, Edmonton was the only one to really take him down a peg because Ottinger was awesome in the Vegas series. He was strong in the Colorado series. He had a couple of wobbly games, but otherwise you're looking at it. It ended really poorly against the Oilers, but Ottinger was great early in their postseason run. And with Blackwood, it's just a shrug emoji. You just don't know what he's going to be. He could be fantastic and finally step into the potential that has been bestowed upon him since he was young, as a top goaltending prospect for a very long time. But until we actually see some proof of concept here, it's all just sort of hopes and dreams. Whereas we know Jake Ottinger has been a much better playoff goalie than not in his career, and that is where I think you say that's the big advantage. And unfortunately, when it comes to playoff hockey, goaltending is the great equalizer. A lot of good teams have gone home because their goaltending didn't hold up, or Yaroslav Halek goes Super Saiyan and stops the Alex Ovechkin Washington Capitals back in the day. There are examples of goaltenders just straight up stealing a series, and that's life. This is not as good a team as the 22 Abs, where their goaltending needed to be not terrible.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, it just needed to be not terrible, and that got them a Stanley Cup. And that's not this. Yeah. Dallas is better than I would say this Dallas team, even without Miro, is better than 3 of the 4 teams that the 22 team beat in their Cup quest. With Tampa Bay being
certainly
the
2. I would say certainly 2.
That St. Louis team was pretty good too. Get Edmonton out of here. Just don't do that. So I think that's their great equalizer, is the way that Ottinger has been in the postseason. That's what you have to look at. But the vaunted forward depth of Dallas, and that's what has been their like ticket to greatness, and multiple deep playoff runs that have yet to result in a Cup championship. Like their forward core being so deep and talented, it got better. Mikko Rantanen, Mikael Granlund, they add Tyler Seguin in. It's just that much better. That's a really good group. But for the first time in what will be their 3 postseason matchups, this Avs forward group is built to go toe-to-toe with them.
Yep. I would agree, and I just can't get over their shortcomings on defense without Heiskanen. It's really hard for me to look at that defense and feel good for Dallas. Yep. We've talked stars, we've talked keys, we've talked goaltending. Do either of you guys have any particular X factors you are looking at in this series?
I don't want to give too much away before I get into all my written content that will be behind the diehard paywall here. But I think my X factor here is going to be Jack Drury and friends, because I think if you go through and you look at how Colorado succeeded and failed in the postseason over the last 5 years, Nathan MacKinnon has gone off. They have won the series. Nathan MacKinnon has struggled. They have lost. And this is a deeper forward group than we have seen since the 22 team. I would say I think their center depth is better this year than in 22 because Garrett Helm was their fourth line center, and I think. But Jack
they got
Drury's
production out of that fourth line, right? Like,
and that's the thing is they have the forward depth to sustain a couple of injuries and
be okay,
be able to just move on, right? Like, if they have a top 6 injury, it's going to be tough, but they can continue to operate. There's not a death knell. If they get into a game 7, it's not going to be second center Lars Eller going out there, right? Just trying totally over his head. So I think for me, it's Jack Drury, and by extension of Drury, it's Colorado's fourth line, which has been fantastic since the trade deadline, essentially since it got put together. Parker Kelly, Jack Drury, Logan O'Connor, an exceptional trio together. And we've seen Jared Bednar has been hunting top lines over the last several weeks. He has been specifically putting Drury out there against opposing team top lines. That frees up Nathan MacKinnon to go against not top lines, to go against the opposing team's fourth line or to go against the third line. That in a best of 7, I think, is going to be a big advantage. And even though the Stars have the home ice advantage, it puts Pete DeBoer in the position where he's got to try and find the matchup that he's comfortable with. And with a very competent Avalanche fourth line, there isn't this big bright spotlight of, all right, we're on home ice in Dallas. We're going to put Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, and Mikko Rantanen out there against name a scrub fourth line from the last couple of years. This is a very competent fourth line that has handled top line matchups, and since they got put together, has outscored their opponents only 4-3, but all of their other underlyings, their territorial dominance has been excellent. They've been very good, and that is against opposing top lines. Not taking on the other fourth line where our fourth line's better than yours. No, it has been Drury going up against top competition and not just treading water, but thriving. And I think that is the biggest X factor when you're talking about a deep Dallas forward group. Having that in Jared Bednar's back pocket is the first time that he will have that in any of the Pete DeBoer Jared Bednar matchups. It's the first time that they will have that in a Colorado-Dallas matchup for over the last couple of years. That I think is my X factor personally.
Mine is on similar on the same kind of. I agree with everything you just said there. For me, it's Big Charlie Coyle. For all the reasons. You can ask him to go play, whatever you want, like on the top side of the lineup. He'll deliver. But right where he fits in the Avalanche lineup, that's their X factor. He can do such wonders. Forget about goals and assists. You're talking about a guy to take a face-off on the right side of things. You got to kill a 3-on-5 penalty kill. Short-handed situations. Go take a shift against the top line. Go take a momentum shift. Make your wingers better. Make your wingers, really get involved in the play. And he's done all that. He's one of those jack of all trades, right? A little, whatever you call that, Swiss Army knife. And he's not little by any means. He chews his gum like a big man. That's for sure. All game long. I love it. But it seems like he's engaged. It seems like he's very intelligent in what he says. He's been in the trenches. He's been in the battles. I like the acquisition of Charlie Coyle. I loved it at the time. I love it even more when it's a matchup against the Dallas Stars. So that would be my X factor.
I like both your answers. I'm going to take the Colorado Avalanche defensive depth, though. I think a lot has been made about Dallas's weakness on defense, but quietly over the last 3 weeks to a month, or even go back to the trade deadline, the Avs' defensive depth has been nothing short of stellar. Eric Johnson is putting up ridiculously good numbers. Sam Malinsky has flourished over the last 3 weeks. Girard had some time off to be healthy going into the playoffs. A lot of things are showing so well for the Avs on their back end that it gives me confidence in you can trust these guys. You can trust the Colorado Avalanche defense in a way that I think things were more suspect in previous years. And yeah, obviously you have to stay healthy. That's true of everyone everywhere all the time. If injuries stack up, tough. But the Avs are 7 deep, confidently 7 deep on defense this year in a way that they haven't been since 22. So that's my X factor on that one. Now for the real question. I need a series prediction. I need a number of games. Pop off, E. You're ready.
I'm ready. I'm going, and I'll tell you why the number reflects that. I think it's going to be tight games. I love the construction of this roster, and I know it's going to be a tough series, and I know and I respect the Dallas Stars, but the Avalanche, Mackenzie Blackwood's going to be stellar, and they're going to win this confrontation in 5. That's where I'm going with it.
Avs in 5. Aggressive. AJ?
I don't.
Dude's about to pick Dallas in 7.
I've had so much respect for Dallas all season long, and I'm trying not to over-index the way that they finished the season without Miro and with being pretty locked into where they were in the postseason. If I'm looking at the Avs and saying, well, they stopped caring for the last couple of weeks, I have to say the same thing for Dallas. So I don't want to over-index on the way that they have gone into the postseason, which hasn't been very good. I am kind of you have to prove it to me in order to believe it, and I'm not going to keep picking against history over and over. So Rudo's right. I'm going to pick Dallas in 7.
I knew it. Could tell. Could just tell. I'll split the difference in games. I'm going to say in 6, and I'm taking the Avs. I think they do kind of slay that demon, although they need to slay their Game 7 demon too, so who knows. They lose to Dallas in Game 7 again, I'm done. I'm out. It's over.
We know Rudo's wrong because the Avs won't win a playoff series at home. They refuse.
No, they're slaying that demon this year too. It's all happening, all right?
Get rid of all of them?
Yeah, just wipe them all out in one. That is going to wrap up our playoff preview for the Avs-Dallas series. You can check out the rest of the Western Conference and Eastern Conference in this playlist. This has been the DNVR Avalanche playoff preview presented by Bet365.